Hello, welcome back. Today we're in the Polytunnel and I am so excited because today is the day that we're going to be planting out my tomato plants in their final growing position. So this year I'm going to be growing a number of different tomato varieties up here, but what they all have in common is that they are cordon tomatoes. So unlike a bush variety of tomato, which is excellent for growing in pots, they get really bushy and then have the tomatoes tumbling over the side. All of these tomatoes will grow as cordons, which means they are excellent for growing in a greenhouse or a polytunnel environment because you can train them to grow up canes or string, which means that you can use them the maximum amount of space in your polytunnel, and then as they get towards the top you can just nip them off and then all of the tomatoes will just grow off the side. So the varieties that I've got here this year are Golden Sunrise, I've got Moneymaker, Elsa Craig and Stupid, that's not how you pronounce it, but I've never grown that variety before, and nor have I grown Golden Sunrise, so it'd be really interesting to see how they grow up here this year. Even though I built my greenhouse in April last year, I am classing this as my first proper growing season up here because even though things did get planted in here, I wasn't really set up and it got really neglected. But now I've got my irrigation system set up in here, I think that it's going to be a really good year. Now, one thing I have noticed up here is that it does get really humid, and it especially has been very humid at the earlier part of this year where the sun's not out all day and it's kind of warming up in here, but it's not kind of burning off that humidity. So it'd be really interesting to see how those tomatoes do this year. I'm hoping that they grow pretty well and don't get blight. You'll see behind me that I already have a number of plastic tomato halos spaced out on the ground, and this is to kind of symbolise where my tomatoes are going to be growing. It's 6 meters wide here and I've gone for 7. I probably could fit more in, but I am just quite mindful that if I fit too many in, I'm not going to get as much airflow around the plants as I could, and I don't want to risk it. But if you don't know what a tomato halo is, well, it's a really amazing way of growing your tomatoes. Okay, in short, you just put it on the ground, you put the tomato in the middle, and then you can water around the halo around the side, which I think takes about 2 litres of water. And then it's got lots of little holes in that then just seeps into the ground, and we'll just water the plant over a couple of hours. Now, there is more detail to this, and I actually did a video ages ago about these, so I will put a link above now in the cards and down below in the description. But I would really suggest, if you've not seen these before, they are a perfect way to grow your tomatoes, and you can probably use them for other plants as well, which I might be doing this year, but for now they're going to be used for my tomatoes. So the first variety of tomato that we're going to be sowing today is Golden Sunrise. And if I just place that on the soil level here, you'll notice that quite a lot of the stem will end up being underneath the soil level when I backfill it, which is excellent because if you don't know, a tomato plant has a very, very furry stem, and wherever that kind of hair is, roots will grow if it's kind of placed into contact with either the soil or buried underneath, which will mean that if I kind of plant it at this level and take off these stems here, lots more roots will grow from it, which means that it will be able to drink more and it will be able to feed more from the soil, which will hopefully make a much more healthy and sturdy plant and loads more fruit. So it's really easy to actually plant these. All you need to do is take it out of its pot, take off the bottom shoots here, place it on the soil level and just backfill it. And there you go, that's the first plant done. Just be mindful, if this is the first time you're using a plant halo, that you need to leave a little rim around the top of the plant, because for the first 2 weeks we only water in the central part while the roots get really established, and then after the 2 weeks we then water in the reservoir. One thing that I haven't mentioned about the tomato halos that you need to be quite mindful of is that the little drippers at the bottom are notorious for getting clogged up. So I don't know if you can see there, this one is completely clogged up at the moment. And if, you know, half of them are clogged up, it's not going to be able to evenly distribute the water around the base of the plant at all. So it is quite important that you keep an eye on it throughout the season. But to begin with, I need to make sure that they are clean, because it's, you know, pointless starting off with them already clogged up. There you go, that one is now done. The easiest way I've found to do it is just to blow air down all the little holes, but if you don't want to get a mouthful of compost, maybe a bit of wire would also do the same trick. If only I could garden as quick as that in real life, because I'd certainly get a lot more done. But they're all in now and I'm very excited. What I'm going to do is just quickly go through all of the varieties in here. The main reason for that is because I don't have any labels up here with me and I'm not going to go and get any, and at the end of the day, if I tell you what the varieties are, I will be able to look back at this video and then know which is which. So the first one here is Golden Sunrise. Then we have Moneymaker, Elsa Craig, Moneymaker again, Golden Sunrise, Stew Pice, and just going off camera now to the end, we've got Elsa Craig. Didn't put them in any particular order, I just grabbed them and put them in. Like I said with that Stew Pice, probably pronounced that completely wrong. I've never grown that variety at all and it's got a much bigger leaf on it, so it definitely looks quite potatoey, so it'd be interesting to see how that one grows. All of the tomatoes are now in their final growing positions up here in the polytunnel, so that's another job ticked off the list. I still need to be putting them down in the greenhouse, but that won't be this week. But now what I need to do is just make sure I help them establish really easily and quickly. So I need to give them a really good water. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, they do need to be watered in their central pot for the first 14 days so that it will help them develop a really good strong root system along their central stem. One thing that I forgot to say when I was planting these tomatoes, and you might be wondering, so I'm going to mention it now, is that I said that I was going to be growing these tomatoes up canes this year rather than string. But as you can see, I haven't put any of the canes in at the moment, and it probably is the best idea that you have your canes ready when you're actually planting it, so you can just put the root ball in, the cane next to it, and then bury them together. And the same if you're using string, you would want to just loosely kind of wrap that string around the root ball of that tomato so that when it's buried under the ground, it's already there waiting to be strung up, or the cane is already there ready for your tomato to grow up. The reason I've not done that today is because I don't have enough canes of the right size at home, so I need to go out and buy some. All of the canes that I have are the 2 metre kind of, or 2.5 metre ones, which I use for my beans, but this isn't 2 metres high, so if I put them in now, it's just going to make a hole in the polytunnel, which I don't want. But what I'm thinking is, if going for kind of like 1 metre high canes, or maybe 1.5 metres, I'm not sure kind of how tall it is here, but then once it gets to around about here, I will then maybe attach some string to the central post in the middle, which should mean that the tomato leaves won't come into contact with this wet, humid cover, which could obviously promote blight and stuff like that. But who knows how we're going to do it. One thing though is that the halos actually have a support or a hole for 3 bamboo canes to go in, but I've never used those. I've only ever just put it in next to the root ball. So we'll see how they grow this year. So there you go, this is how I plant my tomatoes in the polytunnel. I can't wait to see how well they grow this year, and fingers crossed we have a fabulous year and it's very sunny. It's raining at the moment, but we need this rain, so I'm quite happy with that. But anyway, there you go. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, please do hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified of all of my latest videos. As ever, YouTube have some videos up now on the screen that they think you'll like, including the one where I go in more depth about how the tomato halos work. So please go ahead and watch those, and I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye!